The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know what? Ed Sheeran wrote a song about Barcelona, and I've always been a fan of Barcelona. Not even just because Ed Sheeran wrote a song about it, and well, I like Ed Sheeran, but really because of the fact that this is one of the tracks that I have a lot of personal experience with. After running an 8-hour endurance race in GT3s around this track, you tend to learn the ins and outs, the ups and downs. We don't have 8 hours here tonight in Elbows Out Racing League, but you've got 60 minutes to put your best lap down on the track to get things going. And well, in the end, you better be on your P's and Q's. Otherwise, you're probably having a bad day. So let's see how the drivers get on. Let's see what they can put together. Let's see what they can get from top to bottom and how they figure things out. I want to welcome everybody into PTR TV here for Elbows Out Racing League. And this is, of course, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as it's known here in 2025 Season 2 here for Elbows Out. It's going to be myself, Brad Dalton, in the booth, and I'm going to be joined by Andre, who is really becoming a fan of this league, becoming a fan of road courses as I am, and, well, these are always a lot of fun to watch, and Elbows Out puts out some good racing, wouldn't you say, Andre?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good time. Barcelona is a pretty unique road course, and got a lot of good sections of the track that are good for overtaking. Some long straightaways, going to see a little bit of slipstream, so it's going to be fun one way or the other. So far, every time I've been in the booth for this league, I've always come in thinking that I know roughly what to expect, and then when I leave, nothing I expected happened. So those are the fun races, and I'm looking forward to another one tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very good one here. Qualifying is wrapping up now here on track. So drivers putting in the final laps. I'm really curious to see who lands where tonight. This is Matt Toppin we're currently seeing just kind of sitting stationary. I'm not sure what's happening with him here, why he's chilling, but that he is. Drew Zario here is doing some nice slow pacing around on the track, and I'm trying to see if there's anybody who is catching my eyeball for having a bad time when it's all said and done. Zach Nerney here. We're going to jump back because I don't know what happened to Zach Nerney, but apparently...
How did he even get there?
I would like to know myself, because that is what queued in for me. And then Ethan Murphy here, this was his qualifying attempt coming through, and it looks like he just had a little bit of a off track there, black flag moment. Didn't have a good time, but he is currently out trying to put in final laps here with 1:50 to go. He'll hopefully figure things out and get things moving and grooving. Do want to welcome everybody in here. Of course, if it's your first time watching PTR TV, like I see Space Cake in YouTube, it's his first time here. I want to thank you all for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give us some support. We're trying to get to 1,600 subscribers. Andre, I don't know if we're there yet. I know that I've been out for a few days, but last I checked, we were real close to 1,600 subscribers.
Yeah, we are getting very close, and we do appreciate everybody not just subscribing, but tuning in, watching the streams, being active in the chat. There is one reason we do this. It's to put on a show for the friends and family of the drivers in the league, and of course the drivers themselves, so they can go back and have something to watch the next day. And, the fact that people seem to be pretty receptive of it is pretty cool. We're always happy to see it. Much love to everybody watching. And I'll tell you what, if you're watching tonight, you are in for another great race. Elbows Out, as I said, has been a very unpredictable, very fun league to watch. I've missed a few races. Real life has been kind of getting me out of the booth here and there, unfortunately. But we're here tonight. Only 38 seconds left on the scoring pylon. Driver's going to be finishing up their qualifying times, trying to get everything sorted out. Ethan Murphy going to cross the line at about 144. We'll see where everybody shakes out. But I got to ask you, Brad, what are your expectations tonight? I mean, with these track conditions, what are you thinking for tire wear, pit strategy? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so I do think tire wear out is going to be a problem here. Let's look at our weather for the current run here. 71 degree air temp, 94 degree track temp, partly cloudy. It's been getting progressively sunnier as practice and qualifying has run through. And of course, this all runs just straight through real time. So practice started out completely covered in clouds, got a bit better there, and it's gotten a bit sunnier as things go. So I'm quite excited to see how things go for the night. And I think in terms of tire, of course, everyone has to change tires at the pit stop, which makes things a bit better. So we'll see how that affects everyone here and there. Gridding is underway here. So let's knock out the grid really quick while we get drivers going and get this ready to go, which will be, let's start out with the GTP grid here. And who is where for the night? Well, let me tell you, it's return of the Mac, Eric Mack himself, up in pole position when it's all said and done. P2 is Matt Toppin. He's going to try to top the GTP field at the end of the day. P3, Aiden Garcia, Drew Zario in P4, Dwight Hibson P5, and Benjamin Bechtel. Benjamin yelled at me a little bit about that off of last week, so Benjamin Bechtel here for the night. Colin Bourdon in the 184, Zachary Nerney and P8, and Bob Carey will be your 9th driver in the GTP category as we get GT3 Pro pulled up here. Andre.
And it is going to be Paul Nye, the donut guy, P1, getting a good starting position. Martin Merkva going to be P2 to his outside. Patrick Rich going to be 3rd. 4th place going to Daniel Pinar, but I'm going to say it right, Panaro. Zeus Dalston, I believe, is how you would say that, in P5. Tyler Stinek, not Steenek. We're not going to double E it. It's just Tyler Stinek. Again, thank you to the drivers for filling out that form so we don't butcher the names. P6 for that 33, and that is going to be the GT3 Pros. Well, nope, we got 4 more. Chris Stewart in the number 7. Brian Maturley is going to be P8. Ian Tanzias is going to be P9. And shotgun on the GT3 Pros, Ethan Murphy.
Yeah, and then let's go real quick through these GT3 AMs as this grid is rolling. It's Christopher Ondera in a pole position with Nathan Hemperly in 2nd, Joshua Perrin in P3, and Lamar Pools in 4th. It's Shea Perkins in 5th. It is Christian Cardona in P6. From there, 7th place is Parker Chiapuzio, Parker, how do you pronounce your name? Chapuzio. There we go. Let's get it right. And then Matthew Santerciero in P8. It's Dwayne Hoffman in P9, Seth Vosselman in P10, Thomas Baker P11, and Kylan Bruce in 12th place. That is all of your drivers. GTPs are coming around here. And you know what? This is going to be fun to watch, as is being said in YouTube chat. We're away very quickly. Eric Mack, well, he's going to return just right to a dominating form underway, giving us no time to breathe. Matt Toppin here in 2nd. Let's see how this race start goes underway as we go. P2 through. 3rd place there's Aiden Garcia, Drew Zario trying to make a run, and Matt Toppin just completely misses turn 1, completely misses it. That almost looks like some sort of a failure there as he goes through. He's trying to hold on, but he is going to drop way back. Is back in the background. Well, the GT3s are underway, and right now it's Merkva and Paul Nye Sr. going side by side, and Paul Nye will lose the lead there and go into 2nd place.
Yeah, he's going to drop that position, but he's got a good run out of the corner. Looks like he's going to try to slingshot to the outside. He will pull up alongside. Not quite going to get there yet. He had the unoptimal line there, taking the outside corner entry. He's going to have to fall into line. There is some dirt and dust on the track. Something might have happened ahead of these guys heading into that little chicane portion of the track. More sand being kicked up, more kitty litter. Could just be drivers dipping their tires off. That is not super uncommon, but this is a great battle here for the GT3 Pros. Again, Paul Nye Sr. ran a really good lap in qualifying. We know he's got the pace, but off the start of the race, Martin Merkva got a great jump, and sometimes that's what it takes. And the advantage now is that he's got that clean air. He's able to really use every bit of the track, not worry about the cars ahead. He can kind of set the pace here, but not without challenge. Paul Nye is staying right there with him and not letting him forget, hey, I'm here.
And we are running the better version of Barcelona, depending on who you ask. There's not the final chicane. It's a flat run there through the final corner, down the straightaway. I'm a Formula One fan, so I have opinions about that. And, of course, it does have the wider run around turn 9 there through the run. First lap's coming into the order, and, well, this is everyone getting underway very quickly and going through. Christopher Ondera, this is your GT3 AM leader, who is currently running through, and you can see he is doing a very good job of keeping this car underway and keeping things nice and, nice and comfortable. He's doing a pretty good job of just trying to hold on in GT3 AM. He's holding off Nathan Hemperly by just a couple of tenths as they go. Battles thick and fast here, as always, in elbows out, as Paul Nye is still battling Murkva here for the lead, but there's a bit more of a battle behind. You got this gaggle of cars that we'll have to keep up with that starts out not too far back. You've got Chris Stewart, Ian Tanzius, Ethan Murphy, and Zeus Dalston, along with Tyler Stenick, that are all battling it out here.
And we do have a battle going on for the GT3 amateurs as well. Looks like Nathan Hemperly is really taking it to the back of Christopher Ondera. These two drivers have been nose to tail, following along through the portion of the track here with Nathan Hemperly. And you can see just how close it is. Drives it in a little bit deeper, closes that gap, doesn't quite get to the bottom in that Porsche, and that is going to hurt his corner exit. That's been the song and dance for the last couple laps, it seems like. He's able to get really good corner entry, doesn't quite get the exit speed, and that is where you're going to want to really improve to make those overtakes. Fast lap of the race was just set. No surprise there. Eric Mack going to take it early on in this event. We'll see if that changes as the fuel load alters. The cars become a little bit lighter. And this little bit of a battle here, I believe this is going to be for 7th. Dwight Hibbs, Matt Toppin. These two drivers battled a little bit a couple weeks ago when I was in the booth. No strangers to each other, and right back at it here in Barcelona.
Oh, yeah, they're going to keep this battle going for a while, and it won't surprise me at all to watch them go through. And actually, this is Bob Terry and Dwight Hibbs, my bad on that. Overlay, just not wanting to overlay every once in a while, but no big harm, no foul there. We'll watch this battle continue through and see how things go for the night, because again, these drivers just, it kind of ebbs and flows. And we'll go here in just a second. We'll get a replay of our race start as it went, because I know there was something we missed on the race start, as there usually is here with elbows out. It just depends on kind of who you're looking at and what you're looking at. So let's see what we can find here on the race start, because I know there's been quite a bit. Let's go here. Let's get your replay transition up, and let's just kind of very quickly go to looking at what happened early on. So this is Ben Bechtel early on, and I know every week Ben Bechtel just kind of has a moment there, and he doesn't have a great time. And that is, I think, what we are seeing, kind of the dust kick up for ahead. And then right there is the number 50 going around as well. That is Matt Toppin. So Ben Bechtel, Matt Toppin, cold tires, just not having a good time. So this is Matt Toppin battling. It looks like he cut a little bit there to avoid hitting someone. I'm actually going to cut to a different camera angle. And yeah, he was trying to avoid the number 4 of Dwight Hibbs, and looks like lost the rear end there early on. In terms of other drivers, it looks like Parker here early on got a little bit of a love tap there from the 46. Ooh. And, well, they had a bit of a slide. 46 goes through. Everyone avoids, thankfully. Nothing major. So that happened in the background. Ethan Murphy, it looks like, had a bit of an early on scare as well. This is in the mix with what was happening ahead. Ethan Murphy just kind of holding on to it and plays the smart game, just completely stops on the track. Brian, of course, the other driver involved. Zeus Dalston, this was live. We just missed this. Has had a bit of a moment here, it looks like. And, just trying to turn in with a car there as well. And then Dwayne Hoffman, of course, the other driver involved. And, yeah, that's not going to be looked at kindly by the stewards, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll have to see what their decision is there. A bit of a bump and run, but a lot of cars, very little room to work with. You're going to see incidents like that. And as for the incident we were looking at prior there, it's amazing that everybody was able to kind of part the Red Seas and get around the wrecking race car. No harm, no foul. Really ends up driving by everybody there. This battle is not going to stop. It looks like Paul Nye has taken his division lead in the GT3 Pros, but not without challenge. He's going to get a little bit loose out of the corner. That's going to open up the door for Martin Murkva back to the bottom. And that is going to put Murkva back to the point, maybe, but he doesn't quite get clear using the curbs. Paul Nye is going to stay to the outside. He's got just enough track to keep that car up high and force him to give him a lane down the straightaway. It looks like Paul Nye actually has a better run, so he'll have the advantage going into the corner, but he does not have the optimal line. He's going to have to take the outside into this right-hander. Martin Merkva, if he plays his card right, should pull ahead, but he does not. A huge send into the switchback from Paul Nye is going to give Paul the advantage. What a move that was, Brad. I don't know how he made that thing stick.
Now remember, Paul Nye has a nickname that we've given him, and I don't want to see Paul Nye live up to his nickname this week. He is battling hard. He's pushing. But again, we'll double check on our weather here as we look. I mean, 105-degree track temp. You got to be kind to those tires as Merkva with the switchback there gets back ahead. And I hate to say it for Paul Nye, but he is not going to have the easiest time here with this race of trying to get this position, trying to hold this position. And they are going to be the battle to watch all night as it comes down side by side. Bit of contact goes through Merkva to Paul Nye, who comes through ahead. Well, that Valvoline McLaren and that Valvoline Corvette and that Icon McLaren, well, it's currently going to be that Valvoline Corvette who finds his way ahead just barely, just vaguely. And remember who's behind them, because the drivers behind want a taste of this as well. They're really feeling good going through as well, because that's your GT3 AM leaders, Ondera and Hemperly, and they'd love to be able to say that they passed the pros.
Yeah, they definitely would. And anytime you're going to have a pro and amateur division, sometimes drivers punch above their weight classes, and it's always fun to see when they get up there and they battle it out with the pros, and they know that pretty soon that green number plate is going to turn to red sooner or later. But in the meantime, they're just going to have to work on winning their division and maintaining that position. And while we're talking about how Ondera is catching up to the pros, he's not alone. If you look at that scoring and timing pylon, Nathan Hemperly is still right behind him. There's a 12-second gap back to Chapuzio in third place, but these two cars, class of the amateur field, keeping up with the pros right there in the slipstream. They may gain some positions here, and that is going to be really fun to keep track of. You're not missing anything on the GTP side of things. Eric Mack still driving away, still got the fastest lap, 3.7 seconds over Drew Zerio in P2. Third place, Aiden Garcia is about 7 seconds back. But so far, I mean, the story of the night, Brad, has been these GT3s. Both the pros and the amateurs have given us something to really sink our teeth into here. Really good battles, and now a little bit of lap traffic here for our GTPs. It took them a while to get into this situation, but here we are. All night long, this is what they're going to be dealing with. It's the conveyor belt, and it has started.
Ben Bechtel has dropped well back. He had to go into the pits, it looks like, to get a little bit of damage repaired. We saw his spin there early on, and well, now Ben Bechtel gets to do what Ben Bechtel does best, which seems to be the first GTP to fight his way through traffic. He always has a fun time with it. We'll see how it plays out for him today, because I don't think he really wanted to be in this position that early on. I want to check back in ahead of him, though, because ahead of him right here, it's another battle. Joshua Perrin, P3 in GT3 AM. Chris Stewart, P6 in GT3 Pro. Well, they're battling it out, and you see the absolute conveyor belt of cars behind. And what does that mean when you have a conveyor belt of cars behind? Well, it means absolute chaos happens as they run down into turn one. Ben Bechtel doing well to get past. And then Joshua Perrin is going to be looking for a move here, trying to get past Chris Stewart. Again, not necessarily for position in class, but who doesn't like some bragging rights? As that is the elbows out Mustang of Daniel Pinero that has gone a bit wide there. Or no, sorry, that's Tyler Stinnett, who has gone a bit wide. And then the 069 to Josh Perrin is going to try to find his way around there. Joshua Perrin with a life ruiner Porsche. That's a interesting decision there, to call himself a life ruiner. I think he's going to be ruining the life of somebody, depending on how these battles go through the night, because doggone, are they absolutely trying to push.
Yeah, they really are. We're finally getting a little bit of separation in the GT3s. And by a little bit of separation, I really only mean about a second, which is not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but it is the most breathing room that first and second have had in either division so far tonight. And it's taken them about 12 minutes into the event to get there. This cluster of cars continuing to make us nervous here, getting really close, too close for comfort, navigating the right-hander uphill onto this straightaway, and now down into this left-hander. And it's going to be a little bit of contact. We got a body panel coming off of that machine, and I think he's going to gather it up. And what a move. Honestly, the car behind getting out of the throttle, letting him gather that up after he made the contact. Yes, he made the contact, He's the one that got him unsettled in the first place, but it was very heads up to get on the brakes and let him gather that thing back up.
Very, very good move there from them. Again, shows all of the heads-up driving, even when... Wait for it. Even when the elbows are out. But okay, I'm done. I'm done for the night here. Battle for P3 side by side. That is not the iRacing safety car. That is indeed Ian Tanzius going through with Patrick Rich. And am I saying Ian's name correct? Let me make sure I'm saying Ian's name correct, because if I'm wrong, I want someone to yell at me here. Ian, where are you at on our name list?
I don't think he's on the list.
All right. Well, I know he's told me how to say his name once or twice, but as I told the drivers, if it's not on the list, I can't promise I remember it all the time. So, but going through, Ian doing a very good job there, holding off Patrick Rich, battling. Again, we have this battle pretty far back that's still continuing on. Zach Nerney and Colin Bourdon are still battling it out as they go through. And I am enjoying their little battle that is continuing, because Nerney tends to have really good battles as it goes. Tends to always just be right in kind of the punching area, right where he needs to be when he needs to be there. So we'll keep our eyes on him as it goes. Around here, 15 minutes has already passed in this race here.
Yeah, the minutes are flying by, although we are still a ways off of any potential pit stops, and we are a ways off of the end of the race. But time does fly when you're having fun, and these guys have made it a fun race so far. Finally getting that separation, though, like I had mentioned before, Martin Merkva now 2.3 seconds behind Paul Nye. And I think you're exactly right, Brad. I asked you about tire wear at the top of the broadcast. You said it may actually play a factor. I think it is. Looking at lap times, the lap times they are running now versus their best, they've lost about a second, anywhere between 0.5 to a second, which is quite a bit on as far as iRacing is concerned. Sometimes on iRacing, you don't lose anything over the course of a run. Their tire model can be a little bit wonky sometimes, but this seems to be a race where conserving the tire, taking it easy on your equipment, might actually be a benefit here, playing the long game.
Yeah, and the long game is one that, sometimes drivers hate playing it. Like, let's be honest here. Oh, how does our leader get through this? Very good move there. And that was Daniel Pinero spinning out right in front of our leader. Eric Mack, thankfully, able to get through that without too much of an issue. But Daniel Pinero dropping back quite a bit there. Now P8 in class as it stands as we go through. Just kind of getting an idea of where everyone is at here, how everyone is feeling, because the battles are coming through thick and fast, as they always do. Kind of just checking in and watching how everyone goes. I do agree with you there, Andre. I really do have the feeling that in the long run, especially when you're in a 60-minute race, if you can save a little bit short-term to get long-term gain, that really is the best decision. So, as you kind of watch here, that is usually what we find the best option to do. Tyler Stenick and Patrick Rich battling it out, the Mustang versus the Porsche. Who is going to come out ahead on that one? Well, the answer right now is Tyler Stenick comes out ahead of Patrick Rich as the leader. Eric Mack laps his way through. So it took us about 15 minutes to really see GT3s get lapped. Doesn't surprise me here, knowing how Barcelona is. Barcelona can be a pretty challenging track, so no surprise there at all.
No, there's not a surprise there. It is interesting how much the lap traffic is affecting the leaders' lap times. Last time around for Eric Mack, it was a 1:37.0, and for reference, his best lap is a 1:34, so he lost 3 seconds just about to lap traffic and just trying to be patient. And I think, honestly, that patience is a good thing. In races prior, we've seen the GTPs get a little bit overzealous, get a little bit optimistic when it comes to getting around the lap traffic, and sometimes that causes issues. We're only 43 minutes remaining, so we've only been racing for about 17 minutes, give or take. It's not the time to get too aggressive now. You can afford to be patient. He's got a good lead over second place Cruzerio, and that patience, I think, is going to pay dividends. The pitting is going to be interesting later in this race. It is a not too difficult of a pit road, but it is a very fast pit road entry, very wide open, which is sometimes deceiving for these guys. So we'll see how they handle that. But this battle right here, battle for fourth. Chris Stewart, Tyler Stanek, Patrick Rich. They are all fairly close together in the GT3 Pros. And yeah, it's interesting. We're finally getting a little bit of separation here, Brad. And again, going back to the tire wear, what can you do, right? Especially for the GT3s that have a little bit less downforce, they're going to be sliding around some more. If you're in one of these cars, Brad, you're trying to save tire, what are you going to do?
I mean, really, the best thing you can do is just drive in your limits. It's not a problem, in my opinion, unless, you're in this 4-car battle for 5th place at GT3 AM as it stands. Cardona, Perrin, Chapuzio, and Santorciero. If you're one of these 4 drivers that's just absolutely elbows out racing, man, I'm going to stop making that pun one day. Probably no time soon. But I will eventually, I promise. If you're one of these 4 guys, it's very hard to conserve, but you need to try to find just like that half a tenth that you can back off and really relax your race, because that is what can really make a difference on your night here. As we see somebody around here, and that is Zachary Nerney. So what has happened to Zachary Nerney? We are gonna go find out real quick, because I have a feeling something not so fun has happened to him here as he goes through.
No.
Yeah, he was stuck there for a while too, and oh man, is this him mixed into traffic?
It may have been, so keep your eye on that purple machine, as he's going to be up on the curb, getting on the brakes just a little bit wide there, gets into the Lamborghini, and unfortunately where he came to a rest, he had no option but to watch the world go by. Lots of traffic driving by, lots of traffic, just making their way around the track, and he can't really make an unsafe re-entry. So we'll take a look at the onboard view and see from his perspective, because from the outside perspective, it looked like a bit of a dive bomb. It was kind of hard to really understand, but right there, that tells the story. That little flick of the steering wheel, Brad, I think that thing understeered a lot more than he was expecting. He thought that thing was going to stick, and when it didn't, he cranked the wheel even more, but I think that might have actually done him in, because he turned too far. He was skating the tires, and into the Lamborghini he went.
Yeah, there was absolutely nothing he could have done there. A couple more things that we've missed here. Daniel Pinero has had a moment, and let's hop on board here and see exactly what's happened with him. And looks like he just lost it under braking on his own, unfortunately. So, and then Ethan Murphy, Seth Bosselman. This is just a lap or so ago. It looks like they've had a pretty big coming together as they go through. And oh
no.
Well, I have a feeling they're not going to be best friends when it's all said and done.
That was a pucker moment. That was a very big pucker moment.
On board there with Bosselman, and that is Bosselman coming through, and then gets tapped, and then again Ethan Murphy. I just want one more angle of what happened to Murphy there, because I don't think I appreciated just how close that was to game over for him. Let's watch from the highlight here. Through, rolling on the brakes, holding it, and yeah, that could have been so much worse, but looks like Bosselman there, unfortunately, very much game out and done and dusted for him as he goes through. And then Tyler Stanek has also had a moment that I believe we missed out on. So this is Stanek a little bit further back, and it looks like Stanek, just some sort of a failure happening that isn't ideal for him.
Yeah, it could have been after that wreck. His steering was not aligned. He might have had more damage than he was expecting, so he just kind of pulled it off and decided to call it a night. Maybe had too much fun for one night, and we'll see if he gets back out on the circuit, maybe getting that damage repaired. But in the meantime, back to live scenes. Eric Mack, his lead has dissipated. While we were watching replays, the gap went from 3 seconds down to 1. So Drew Zerio reeling him in slightly. We've seen a lot of up and down as far as the GTP when it comes to the leader. It seems like sometimes they get big leads and then it yo-yos back together. On the GT3 side of things, the GT3 Pros, big gap between the leader Paul Nye and Martin Merkva P2. Ian Tanzias is going to be 4 seconds back, it would seem, in third. And then in the amateur side of things, a 4-second gap between Ondera and Hemperly. So right now, the closest battle is actually going to be between the GTPs. And this is the battle for 6th in that division, as they are separated by quite a bit, but a lot of traffic is really kind of making itself apparent here. They're having to work their way through and slice and dice, which, again, it's the most important thing, I think, every single race, Brad. If you're a GTP, how well you can navigate traffic, I think, is just as important as any other skill.
I 1,010% agree with that, because it's such a... I have a saying that I use pretty much all the time, and I'm going to continue to use it probably until the day I stop doing commentary. Traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. It is the biggest kind of common denominator when it's all said and done, is that the traffic is really what can give you the most problems. And it's what can really cause you to just be in such a bad position and not realize it here, as we're riding on board with Bob Carey. And you can see here, now Bob Carey has 2 cars ahead of him. He's got the 515 ahead, and that is going to be Chris Stewart and then Tyler Stenick. And these two are battling for position. So Bob Carey has to, like, very, very carefully get around him. But what does that cause for Bob Carey? Well, now look at this. That gap that was just 1/10 of a second is now over 2 seconds separating them, because Zach Nerney has just caught traffic in such a great position and been able to snake his way through. So he's having no issues at all kind of getting through that traffic. And it's just causing, it causes headaches, honestly, and it becomes so frustrating if you can't figure it out. Up at the front, Eric Mack has reopened that gap to about 2 seconds behind. There's Eric Mack, and then Drew Zerio following for company here as we go. We're about, I'd say about 5 or 6 minutes away from these GTPs thinking about going ahead and doing their pit stops and making that decision to go through on the night. And I think that's, splitting that race right down the middle on an hour race with a mandatory pit stop, I think it's a great decision.
Yeah, splitting it down the middle, I think, is really the easiest strategy. And you're obviously, if you are taking tires, you're getting an equal amount of time on each set of tires. You're not spending too long on one particular set and not enough on another. So it's going to be the main strategy, although, every time I've been in the booth, we have seen a few outliers, drivers that really like to stretch it and run that thing dry, run a few laps with a lighter fuel load. And then we have some drivers that like to come in a little bit earlier, get that fresh tires. So we will see exactly how that goes, following along with Stanek in that 33, I believe. He is working his way through the chicane, and it is going to be interesting. Again, Brad, I've been out of the booth for a couple of these races. We do have some cars coming down pit road, but I feel like every race that I've been in the booth for, the pit sequence has significantly affected the outcome of the race.
It always does, and that's the thing. It's not even a case of a little bit. It can significantly change how this race goes, and it really just, you kind of throw all of your dice in a cup, mix it up, and then eventually it figures itself out somewhere. Kylan Bruce is also in the pits as well here in GT3M. We haven't talked about him a lot, but he is in the pits kind of, going through. He's been in the box for a little bit, it appears. So, but it doesn't look like he's been in the box. He's been in there a bit longer. Nathan Hemperly only 25 seconds in the box. So we'll see as drivers start their pit stop times. This will give us a good, I think, real indication of who's doing what.
Yeah, it should definitely give us an idea in that 1 minute 10, 1 minute 11. He's either getting damage fixed or he had to step away from the sim, and he's using the pit stop as an opportunity to do that. So we'll keep an eye on him, see where that goes, but still a lot of cars yet to come down pit road. The leaders in all of the divisions have yet to come down. Christopher Ondera, Lamar Pools. We learned that is pronounced Pools. So again, thank you for filling out the form, and hopefully we don't continue to butcher that. But Eric Mack, Drew Zerio, Paul Nye, Martin Merkva, these guys have not come down pit road. 33 minutes remain. They got plenty of time, plenty of a large pit window. And again, just a little bit of a battle here between two GTPs into the corner. They're going to stay side by side. And it's one thing I love about this layout, Brad, here at Barcelona. There's a lot of switchbacks, a lot of corners where they can get side by side and stay side by side. There's even a little bit of banking in some of these turns, which allows the outside to carry more momentum than it sometimes would, as well as the elevation change, given this car some downforce. So it's really a fun track, and it makes for some really great battles like we saw with the GT3s earlier and now with some GTPs.
Yeah, and that's where things kind of really get fun. I'm not gonna lie, is seeing just that comparison in battle, and going through figuring out who is gonna be where with what. It's just everything about this league just sets up so well, especially if you are a big IMSA fan. If you are a fan of, any sort of multi-class racing, IMSA WEC, this series just kind of it scratches the itch, honestly, as it goes. So I kind of really enjoy it. And I'm pulling this up in the bottom just to kind of give an idea of the pace difference between the GT3s and the GTPs when we talk about it. So Paul Nye just started lap 17. Christopher Ondara is not that far behind him, so he'll come through. But Eric Mack is about 1 to 2 laps ahead of them at any given time. So that is the difference really in the range between GT3 and GTP. So you got to kind of watch that as they go through. So the thing is, too, the other thing that I watch with them is that these battles ebb and flow, and it's not always about that on-track action, Andre. Sometimes it is also about what you can do in the pit stop cycle, what you can do all the way through that shapes things up here. Aiden Garcia, Colin Bourdon battling it out right now for third in GTP. As they go through and continue along, they're going to keep that battle going for a bit, I feel. So it'll be interesting to really see how their battle shapes up. We are officially hitting pit stop times. Matt Toppin, Ben Bechtel has been in. Nobody else has been in yet, though, really of significance. I would say the leaders are probably going to bring it in soon and try to find some sort of pace here. I'd be surprised if they keep it out too long past halfway, but of course these GT3s can't go to about 45 minutes. So we'll see what the decision is here. Santos Hierro, Lamart Pools, Chapuzio, and Christian Cardona. I mean, this is a battle for P5, P4 in GT3 AM that practically looks like they're battling for the lead, but second place right now in GT3 AM goes side by side, and that will swap positions. Perrin ahead of Perkins now.
Yeah, he's going to get the advantage there and hopefully maintain the position, but if the track record of the night is anything to go off of, yep, we're expecting that. He's going to pull down to the inside, and it is going to be a battle. Seems like you can't make an overtake and just drive away with it here at Barcelona. It seems like this track is promoting some really close battles, and that is what we're going to see right here between these two drivers. That blue Porsche going to get the advantage just for the moment, but striking back right here, back to the bottom lane. He's going to try to take it away from him, and he will. But let's see, down pit road, here he comes. So that was actually probably a really good move. He decided, all right, he got back around me, might as well bring this thing down pit road, get the car serviced, and that is exactly what he is doing. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen some drivers coming down pit road and how long they've spent in their stall. For Tanzias, it was a 21.7, 22.7 for Stewart in the same division. Meanwhile, we got a few other drivers in the amateur division coming down pit road, getting those cars serviced. And the first of the GTPs has finally given way. Garcia in the 799 going to bring that thing down pit road, and he'll open the floodgates, I think, for his division. We'll see how long anybody else stays out there.
Indeed, kind of watching through to see who does what. Pools is one that really, I think, for Pools, depending on how long he's in, that's really going to spell kind of the difference. So look at that, exiting side by side. Now that is a way to do it there for Pools and Cardona. They are not done here at all, and I think Pools is going to be very quick to try to get a run. They need to get ahead of this GTP coming through, because if both of them do, well, it'll be better, but no, Pools will end up behind the GTP. That's going to add a little bit of a slowdown there for him, and well, Pools will now be trying to chase down Christian Cardona kind of a little bit on the back foot. And I do agree with you here, Andre. Floodgates are now open. Zach Nerney is in there in P6 and in and out with a 22-second stop. Paul Nye, the donut guy, will bring his way in as well. More drivers starting into the pits. Brian Materrell is in and going through. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing Brian's name right really quick as he misses his pit box. That's not ideal.
No, that is far from ideal. Gonna have to give up a little bit of time getting back in the stall and see if he can recover from this a little bit. But again, pit road, a very busy place, and honestly, it does not look like these pit stalls are marked very brightly. The paint a little bit faded in these stalls. I can't say I blame him for overshooting it just a little bit. This track could maybe use a bit of a paint job here, but the 64 machine of Zeus Dalston is going to be in, and he goes up on the jack stands. Again, I believe just about everybody's going to be taking tires. I think if anybody stays on the old tires, they'll have a quicker pit stop, but given the lap time degradation that I'm seeing on the scoring and timing, the fresh tires are definitely worth it. We had another driver miss their stall right there. It was the number 270. Had to put it in reverse, Dwayne Hoffman. So, I mean, good news for the other guy. Hey, if everybody misses your stall, nobody did.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. That is ideal. It's not ideal to miss your box, but I mean, if everyone's going to do it, you might as well join in for a little bit of the fun. Because why not? Let's be honest here. Parker Chapuzio going through, and also just to make sure that I say this right at least once on broadcast, Brian Metterly. I do want to make sure I say that right once for Brian, because I know that's one that we had a rough time with through the season starting out. Tyler Stenick is now into the pits here. Let's see what Stenick does. Stenick, clean stop in the box, so not missing the box. Just a few drivers left to get into the pits and out, and then just our top 4 in GTP left to get into the pits and out. So we'll see how that goes. But Drew Zario gaining on the rear here of Eric Mack. It's the return of the Mack. Well, it's possibly the return of Zario if he has his way with it. Easier said than done, though. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, they've been really close together. Their lap times have not been fluctuating that much, just right within one another. It seems like Drew Zario will have the faster lap one time. Eric Mack will take it back the next, and overall the gap just kind of hovers. It floats around 1 second, and oh no! That was race leader Eric Mack getting loose into the kitty litter. He's going to get back on track in second place, but he's given up a ton of time, 5 seconds and counting, to Drew Zario. Every race, Brad, every race, we just barely check in on the leaders, and I think we're doing this. We're giving them the commentator's curse.
We have to be. Let's get a quick PTR TV replay of how that one happened, because this was a little bit just, I mean, I don't even want to call it a lazy Susan spin, but it was a little bit of a lazy Susan spin. I don't even know how to really describe it otherwise. Like, let's look at this really quick. So this is coming in with Eric Mack coming around, and he's on the brakes, and it just kind of, it snaps from him. I don't even know how to explain that. Let's get a Whiplash SimCam on board really quick and see if we can't get an idea of really what happened to him. We're going to go right from the helmet.
Yeah, I'm going to want to take a look at the steering wheel, see exactly. Yeah, I mean, he knew, he could feel that it was sliding as soon as it started. You could see him countersteering before the car itself even got sideways. But oddly enough, I mean, that thing snapped and the air left the diffuser and left the wing, and there was no saving it. And that is one of the things with these GTPs. They make so much ground force and they make so much downforce going forward. The second they break sideways, it's like an IndyCar. They're just going to lose everything. It's very difficult to save once it does start to go around. My question is, what caused it to go around in the first place? Did he maybe make a brake bias adjustment that went a little bit too far in one direction? Or maybe the tire wear just caught him slipping? I
don't know. That's what's so weird about it. And I'll be curious to hear about it after the fact. Because it's such a weird position to spin to, in my opinion. Like, that is a very weird place for Eric Mack to spin. It just doesn't make sense. There wasn't anyone around. There was no contact. It was just kind of a self-induced moment there, unfortunately. So everyone's been in the pits here at this point, by the way, except for Drew Zario, Colin Bourdon, and Martin Merkva, our current GT3 Pro leader, who still needs to come in, and he keeps that HKS McLaren out for another lap, just absolutely running it through.
Yeah, like I said, there's always going to be a couple of guys that want to run it dry. Maybe they prefer the handling conditions on a lighter fuel load. Maybe they just feel like, I'm going to do whatever the other guys aren't doing. So if they all come down pit road, I'm going to stay out. But either way, you can't fault them. You got to try something. And right now, he is leading the way. He's getting some laps led. And when he comes down pit road, we'll see where he cycles out. But Merkva's been really competitive. He's been right there with Paul Nye. So we'll see how much this separates them or maybe brings them closer together once it's all said and done. Looks like Colin Bourdon has moved up into P2. Zachary Nerney in 6th there, as Eric Mack has come down pit road. He's 37 seconds back from Drew Zario. Now, interestingly, the total pit time for these GTPs is right around 37 seconds. So he actually might be making up time here. He might cycle out a lot closer to the leader than we were expecting. So we'll see. But in the meantime, just kind of clicking off laps, waiting for everybody to cycle through. 22 minutes remaining as we look at second place Colin Bourdon. And yeah, so far, again, Brad, you think you know what to expect, and then Eric Mack has to just go and throw the dice and make it a crazy race.
I mean, listen, it wouldn't be a race if it wasn't a crazy race here. As we speak of crazy races, and we check in here with this battle for 7th in GTP coming through the final corner. Bob Carey, Dwight Hibbs, both have been in the pits. This is a true battle for position as it stands. And as they run through, I mean, look at this. They're going to go side by side down the main straight. Bob Carey wants that pass on Dwight Hibbs if humanly possible, and it does look like Bob Carey is going to be putting in the pressure, trying to go. Flash of the lights there on our current GT3 Pro leader, Martin Merkva. Martin Merkva respectfully staying well out of the way there, and that number 280 of Bob Carey is going to lose just a little bit of space, a little bit of time there, trying to navigate the traffic through the corner, which isn't ideal, but you do have to do that every once in a while, and that's going to open that gap up very quickly to 1.2 seconds, which one driver will be happy about, one driver will not. Check it back in here. Christopher Ondera, our current GT3 AM leader, is currently holding off Metterly back behind just a little bit. Metterly just kind of giving a taste and saying, you know what, come race in the pros, man. You're leading the AMs, but come race in the pros. Let's have a little bit of fun, and these are the battles you could be having. So P6 in pros and P1 in AMs currently going back-to-back here down the front stretch. We'll see if there's an attempt of a pass into turn 1, as they have been Bechtel in the GTP, quickly gaining down the main straight. No attempt for a pass. Looks like single file for the moment for them. I think drivers at this point, they're starting to kind of hit that little bit of a stretch where they know they need to breathe a little bit. 20 minutes left to go in this race here, Andre. But at some point, the gloves have to come back off, and you got to start battling pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, getting down to it, we are 2/3 of the way through the race now, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's go time yet. We got a lot of laps left to log, but it's getting closer to it. You know, these guys are thinking about it, so this is a fun battle to watch. Like you said, first place in the amateur, 6th place in the pro, very close in pace. They're going to have some GTPs trying to navigate this little group here, see if they can get around them, show a little bit of patience, but maybe not too much patience. Don't want to fall behind. In the meantime, Drew Zario, I believe, has yet to come down pit road. We'll see. There is Merkva, finally, the GT3 Pro leader. He's going to come down pit road. We'll see where he cycles out in regards to Nye. Nye's going to be way ahead, as he is going to be passing the pit road just about now, and Merkva is still in his stall, just now pulling out. So that is the amount of time, Brad, that was lost on those older tires. Merkva stayed out a good 5-6 laps longer. He was about a second back when this all began. Now it's going to be upwards of 5 seconds total. So not the play to stay out as long as he did.
Well, here's what's going to be interesting is he's going to have speed here to the end with fresher tires, but you know, I do agree with you. He gave up so much time there in the long run that I don't think it's worth it. We see Stenik isn't that far back behind him here coming through in the Mustang, but at the same time, you know, I just don't. Yeah, no, I think for Merkva, that was a bad call. Get some time in the lead there. Not a bad decision, but I mean, when you look at the gap he's going to have to overcome here in the GT3 Pro category, I mean, he's going to be in trouble when it's all said and done. He's got 6 seconds alone to get up to Tanzius, and there's Drew Zario into the pit. So now our race leader is in here into the pit lane, and this is going to be the one that I really want to watch. Where does he come through? And Colin Bourdon is in as well. Where do they come through in comparison to, well, Return of the Mac?
We will finally find out. Following along with this number 19, we'll see when he gets onto the straightaway. I will say Drew Zario, 26 seconds total. Now remember, 37 seconds was the gap between them when this began. 18 seconds in the stall, 19 seconds in the stall. Looks like Drew Zerio is going to maintain his lead, at least for the time being. It's going to be close. I think, maybe not as close as I thought, but he is going to pull out of the pit road, and he is good to go. He's got some GT3s. Well, I say he's good to go, but here comes Eric Mack. Oh my goodness, Brad, how did he do that? He lost 5 seconds going in the kitty litter. He comes down pit road, makes up that time on fresh tires, and now it's going to be a battle all over again.
17 minutes to go, and Eric Mack, if you have put any money against Eric Mack, well, it might be an L for the doubters on the night. Drew Zerio here up front. Look at this gap now, 1 second. Gap going to continue to close. This is Eric Mack in the rhythm, in the pace. Drew Zerio on fresh tires has to get those tires up to temp, up to speed here, but how is this going to play out? Well, if you're Eric Mack, I think you're licking your chops like you're sitting at Texas Roadhouse getting ready to eat a good old sirloin. This is going to be a good run here, and let's see how he does it. Let's see how he gets this one together as we ride on board with Eric Mack. Well, Eric Mack, how's he going to do this? Well, it's going to be a hard dive up the inside into turn 9. He's going to be squeezed. Side by side they go. Zerio's on cold tires, and he locks it up, comes through and collects Eric Mack, and they both go.
Oh my goodness, the two fastest drivers in GTP, and here comes Paul Nye splitting the middle, trying to figure out how am I going to navigate this heavily damaged GTPs. And Colin Bourdon, he's not taken the lead yet, but he's the only GTP in this top 3 without significant damage. He's going to make contact. Eric Mack has been shunted out of the way, and now Bourdon is going to have that lead. Again, I don't think that was intentional, but Eric Mack had significant damage. He was going into that corner a little bit off pace, and I'm not sure that Colin Bourdon knew exactly what the extent of that damage was. What a turn of events. We're going to try to take a look at a PTR TV replay from the perspective maybe of Colin Bourdon. Oh no, we're going to take a look at the initial incident actually. And they went into this corner and just hopped the curb a little bit, slid up the track into Eric Mack. Big contact made there. Paul Nye, no option but to lock up the brakes.
I want to go on board really quick. So this was on board with Zerio, and I mean, he had nothing he could do there. And if you watch Eric Mack's perspective from this, I mean, he's squeezed all the way to the outside here, Andre. And he's through. I mean, he's leaving tons. There's nothing Eric Mack can do in that situation.
No. Well, and I'll tell you, I think what happened there was that on the inside there, it's not a very good angle for entry. I think it might have genuinely been a bit of a visibility issue. He might have just turned in a little bit too early. He hopped that curb, and then once that happens, the car is around. That was a replay of Bourdon getting into Eric Mack. But yeah, Drew Zerio, that initial contact, he just turned in a little bit too early. It was a strange mistake that you don't often see out of these guys. There's another replay of the shunt. But yeah, just a very weird mistake, Brad.
Yeah, and I want to see this right here. So I think what happened is that Paul Nye is in the mix here, and this is just pure miscommunication all the way around from everyone involved. I want to get one more kind of overhead look at this, though, as it stands. So this is going to be our best overhead look. So watch Eric Mack on the left. He's wide. Paul Nye is there to the inside. Paul's holding his line there, and Eric Mack slows down, which I don't think Bourdon was expecting, unfortunately. And that kind of hits things through. And then, well, we'll get one more good look because Eric Mack, well, it's not return of the Mack, it's the loss of the Mack here. And tell you what, I could go for a Big Mac right now. And that left front tire was already damaged. And I think that just kind of sealed the fate for Eric Mack and took his race just completely off kilter.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that we just saw was intentional. From the contact that Drew Zerio made to the contact that Colin Bourdon made. But if you're Eric Mack, does that really matter? Because right now, I mean, he's got to be seeing red behind the steering wheel. Whether it was intentional or not, he gets doored in one corner, gathers it up, he's got heavy damage, and then he gets shunted into the very next corner. He's got to feel like a bit of a punching bag out there.
That was just some of the most unfortunate, close-timed racing incidents that I've seen in commentary in a long time. And I used to commentate Formula One, where you called everything a racing incident half the time. So with that being said, I just think that is unfortunate racing incidents coming together back to back to back and really just spelling things out. Drew Zario, unfortunately, our first driver out of this race, other than Kylan Bruce. Kylan Bruce has been out for a few minutes there in the GT3 AMs, but Drew Zario, our first GTP out of this event, done and dusted. We got about 12 and a half minutes left to go here, and there is some significant front end damage on the front of this GTP of Colin Bourdon. And I'm going to ask the question here, Andre. You're Aiden Garcia here in second place. Well, that's Matt Toppin, not Aiden Garcia. You're Aiden Garcia here in second place, and we look at his last lap, and we compare that to our race leader. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. There's a chance.
4.8 seconds currently as it stands. I think he'd be feeling pretty good if it could happen. He'll definitely be looking to make a move, and you'll just have to kind of give him time, hold your breath, and see what plays out when it's all said and done. This is going to be an interesting last 10 minutes here in Elbows Out.
Yeah, I don't know if it can be any more interesting than what we've already seen, but it will be interesting for sure as we are following along with this number 799, Aiden Garcia, trying to run down Colin Bourdon, just trying to click off his laps, hit his marks, and I tell you, a lot of these GTPs are really stretching the track limits. They're up on the curbs. They're even dipping tires into the kitty litter at points, trying to carry as much momentum as possible. And I got to wonder if maybe that's played into a little bit of the handling issues we've seen as well, just getting those tires dirty. You know, iRacing has changed the way that debris works with the tires, with the cars. And I understand trying to carry momentum, but you're kicking up all this dust and dirt. You might just get yourself caught off guard. And just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But it's been a great battle so far tonight. 10 minutes of racing remains here in Elbows Out as we follow along with a few of these GT3 cars. The number 26 leading the way here in this little group. That is Ethan Murphy. P9 as far as the pros are concerned. Zeus Dalston right behind fourth position in that number 64. Going on board, taking a look at that's a great camera. You can see that the fumes coming out of the exhaust there, and see the tire action, the tire flex as they work their way through this section of the track. I didn't know iRacing even modeled tire flex, but it seems they did. That's a new one, Brad. I've never seen you break that camera angle out.
Yeah, I had this camera angle kind of in my back pocket, and I couldn't remember who it was we set it up on. And, well, Zeus, I'm glad you're out and running with 10 minutes to go, because you were the lucky one here on the night. But, yeah, I loved it because of the exhaust shot there, getting that little bit of heat haze off of the exhaust. I completely forgot that I noticed the tire flex earlier, because I really didn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see the tire flex at all earlier, so this is really cool to see. And then, of course, we can look at this again on the left-hand side as we run through and just kind of enjoy the great battles as they go. I mean, this is such great action going through on the night. And, again, the battle for ninth in GT3 Pro here. Looking back up a bit more, Chris Stewart here trying to hold off Metterly just behind there in the battle for P5. And, well, if you're wondering about who's leading currently, well, it's Paul Nye Sr. in GT3 Pros running through just plenty of runs on the night. Some of our biggest positions gained on the night, well, Ian Tanzius in that 059 currently in second place, up 7 places. Colin Bourdon up 6. Zach Nerney up 4. Parker Chapuzio up 3. And Matthew Santriciero up 3 on the night. Plenty of drivers that have moved up the field, just as many have moved down the field. Some of our big heartbreaks of the night. Of course, we got to talk about return of the Mac, Eric Mack there in the GTPs, who is now down in 5th. We've had Patrick Rich down 4 places, in 7th place in GT3 Pro. Daniel Panero is down in P8 in GT3 Pro, and then Zeus Dalston is down 5 places, and Joshua Perrin, 8th place in GT3 AM, is down several places here. 8 minutes left to go, Andre. Gap to the lead, 4 seconds. I think Aiden Garcia possibly just slowly and carefully pacing his way forward. Maybe going to try to get the run. He's running out of time here.
Yeah, he was reeling in Bourdon a little bit here and there, but right now it seems like the gap is kind of plateaued a little bit, right about 4.5, 4.6 seconds, not really making up the gap that he needs to make up. And with only 7.5 minutes remaining, like you said, it's a race against the clock, and it is running out. So we'll keep an eye on it. We're not going to count him out, not in this league. In this league, Brad, I've never had a league where I feel less comfortable with somebody's position on track, because it feels like in this league somebody could have a 3-lap lead, and then I look back up at the monitor and it's gone. Somebody else is in the lead. It's crazy. So right now, Bourdon looking good. Garcia really good through this second sector of the track, reels him in a little bit by a few tenths. But overall, it's going to be a battle of consistency. Garcia actually lost quite a bit that last time by, and I got to wonder if maybe that was a little bit of traffic there, Brad. I mean, 135 is off pace for these cars. Could have been dealing with some GT3s.
Yeah, and I think that is the case of traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. But here's where it's gonna, it's gonna giveth a bit here for Garcia, because Colin Bourdon currently going to be the one to run through and have to find some traffic. And I do also want to point out the manufacturer standings when it comes into this, Andre, because Acura, as it stands in GTP, is currently 10 points behind BMW in the manufacturer standings. So Acura is looking for a good run here on the night, and they are going to be feeling pretty good here. Same thing right now, I think, with Ford in the GT3 category. Currently, it's Audi, Ford, Acura, your top three in GT3s. So they're going to be looking to have just some good manufacturer runs on the night, because there are some things to be said as well about the manufacturer standings that can mix things up. So let's watch how Acura tries to pull this through, because if Aiden Garcia and Colin Bourdon get close to each other, they got to think about the bigger picture as well here, because really, if they're trying to bring that battle up to the front in manufacturers of BMW, they've got to play nice at the same time. I want to check back in here with Paul Nye. Paul Nye 4 seconds ahead of Ian Tanzius there, the safety car. Chris Stewart now under pressure by Medderly, just a couple of tenths of a second as they go. No traffic to be played there. No GTPs are going to affect this battle. They're just about to start swinging.
Yeah, no doubt they are. I said it about 20 minutes ago. We've not done yet, but with 5 minutes ago, it is absolutely time to pull out all the stops. Take risks in your moves, do everything you can, try to capitalize on what's here tonight. As this battle for 45 for Ryan, literally is going to be 5 and 6 down in the corners. Like Ryan's going to get a good run in corner entries, using up a little bit of there. See if they can get forward on exit. Not quite going to get around there on exit. In that Lamborghini, maintaining the pace. Look at that down the bottom of the track. Literally able to get a really good run. That's never going to bring right back the bumper into this right hand here. He's going to stay there. I think at this point, 46 might be a little bit quicker. It's just a matter of waiting for that door to open.
Yeah, it really does seem like that 46 is quicker here. Let's hop on board with the 46 and kind of enjoy his run through here, because he does look quicker. It's just, again, it's the matter of the pass. And, well, it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass. I know we say that over and over and over again as Brian goes through. You hear the sausage curb. He has a little bit of a ramp there as it goes, and I think unfortunately it seems like those corners are really what's costing him here as he goes through, and now that gap opens up just a little bit more, and well, that's not going to be very good for him here as he goes through, but he's closing it back up. He's getting things kind of brought back together and still trying to find the battle where he can. This one's going to go all the way to the wire here. 3 minutes, 45 seconds left to go. And again, nothing is decided, especially in this league, until the checkered flag hits. So you just kind of have to watch and hold on as much as possible, because they are going to absolutely keep this battle going. I want to check back in a little bit further back. This is going to be GT3 AMs currently battling it out as well. This is going to be Christian Cardona, Joshua Perrin. They are battling it out for 7th in GT3 AM, and they're going to make this battle look pretty aggressive as they go. They're not separated by much, and they are continuing to just push each other. McLaren versus Porsche here, and 3 minutes to go. We'll see if Perrin has enough to get past.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe not wait very long, though, because he is going to get down to the inside. I think Perrin might have the advantage here. He's going to get clear out of the corner. And it is going to be a solo position, not side by side, not battling for it in that 069 machine. And boy, that might have been one of the only easy-looking passes we've seen all night, Brad. I mean, it probably wasn't easy, but he made it look easy.
That is the easiest looking pass we've had all night. I will 100% agree with that. I've seen nobody actually make that run through look like that at all. It's very impressive to see them make that move the way they did. Checking back in again with this pro battle, Stewart and Medley, I mean, they continue to go and pass and just challenge each other. They're not done at all here when it's all said and through. 2 minutes left to go here in the race. I want to check in with our race leader, Aiden Garcia. Aiden now 7.5 seconds up on Matt Toppin. Matt Toppin now, I hate to bring this news to everyone, but who is that behind Matt Toppin? Well, that is Colin Bourdon closing in behind, not too far back. So unfortunately for Matt Toppin, Colin Bourdon here is really, really about to create some problems, cause some pressure, and will possibly take away second place.
Yeah, he might actually be able to take it away from him. We'll have to wait and see as we ride on board. Looking back just a little ways here. It is going to be aggressive corner entry there, closing the gap a little bit for our GTPs. I've just lost feed for a moment there. Now we're back on live scenes. It's these two battling it out for, I believe, P2 in their division. Again, my timing and scoring has been a little bit messed up here and there, so we're making the best of what we got. But in the meantime, two GTPs that have survived the entire night, which is it seems to be an achievement. The GTPs have it rough, it seems, week in and week out, and these two able to hold on to a clean car, and only 50 seconds remaining. They are almost on the home stretch.
Almost there, not far away. We'll see how this goes when it's all said and done. This is going to be very, very close. And we'll see if we can't get rid of the Robot Andre really quick, since Robot Andre loves to make his appearance at the most opportune times. So if Robot Andre is back, well, we didn't pay for Robot Andre to be on this series, but he likes to make the appearance every once in a while here as we go. White flag is coming through this time by, and looks like for our race leader, he is going to be in a very good position. Aiden Garcia up ahead. The timer is now done. Things are done and dusted. Final lap is on the way, but it is going to be indeed the victory run here for him, and the winner of this round here at Barcelona, Aiden Garcia, with a beautiful run there to the end. Matt Toppin and Colin Bourdon, they are going to battle it out to the line here for second and third, but Matt Toppin able to get ahead. Paul Nye, not too far back here, has about half a lap to just kind of pace this thing through.
Yeah, Paul Nye ran a really brilliant race as he is working his way towards the end, towards the checkered flag. 5-second gap for him. I gotta wonder if maybe that driver there was out of fuel. You could see him wiggling the steering wheel a little bit, coasting across the line. Maybe just didn't want to go much further, maybe out of fuel. But yeah, Paul Nye, tell you what, might have to change the nickname Paul Nye the winning guy, because he got the pole. He fell back to second. Didn't take him long to get back to the point, and once he took it, he never looked back. He ran a flawless race, dealt with adversity too. Remember, he was right in the middle of that wreck between the GTP leaders, and he was able to keep the car clean, very heads up, able to bring it home in the lead. But these two drivers, they've been around each other for, I don't know, the last 6-7 laps consecutively. And with this being the final lap, if they're going to make any moves, they got to make them now. But I don't think he's quite close enough, Brad. He's fallen back just a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like things have just started to kind of open up a little bit. So we'll see what happens on the night for them as they go through, trying to get things done and dusted across the line. It is Chris Stewart ahead of Medley there. And our AM winner way in the back, the last driver actually crossed the line, believe it or not, Christopher Ondera brings it across the line, finishes things out. And well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is one heck of a race, I have to say. But if you are this driver right here, Aiden Garcia, you can tell the win means a lot for Aiden. Are we going to get GTP donuts? Are we going to get GTP donuts? We're going to attempt GTP donuts, I believe. There's the number 50. There's Matt Toppin. Definitely feeling good about it. So as we let these GTPs do their donuts and bring it around, let's go ahead and get our final results pulled up here as it stands on the night. Starting out with our GTP results as it goes. Well, that's definitely not right. We don't want custom session name. We want the race name because it was our official race results after 37 laps. There we go. Aiden Garcia, Matt Toppin, Colin Bourdon, your top three. Zach Nerney in fourth. And well, the return of the Mac was not to be found this week, ladies and gentlemen, as Eric Mack was in fifth place. Dwight Hibbs in P6, Bob Carey in P7, Ben Bechtel in eighth, Drew Zerio in P9. And then from there, we go we just go 9 places there. That was all of your drivers. Of course, Drew Zerio, Eric Mack, maybe not the best of friends when it's all said and done. We'll see what the stewards have to say on that one during post-race inspections. GT3 Pros, Paul Nye Sr. Again, Paul Nye the winning guy, Paul Nye the donut guy. Well, is Paul Nye giving us donuts? There's a good question. No, it looks like Paul Nye is just pacing around, enjoying his victory. Ian Tanzius in second, Martin Merkva in third, Tyler Stenick in P4, Chris Stewart in P5, Brian Metterly in P6, Patrick Rich in P7, Daniel Panero in P8, Ethan Murphy in P9, Zeus Dalston in 10th. From there, P11. Well, no, there was only 10 drivers in GT3 Pro, catching me off guard yet again. But GT3 AMs were really where it was at. Christopher Ondera, Nathan Hemperly, Shea Perkins, Parker Chapuzio, and Matthew Santerciero, your top 5. Lamar Pools in P6, Christian Cardona, P7, Dwayne Hoffman in 8th, Joshua Perrin, Seth Vosselman, your top 10. And now we get 2 more drivers, Kylan Bruce and Thomas Baker, your 12 cars in GT3 AM. Andre, I don't know what else I can really say about this race today other than, man, what a race.
Yeah, that was... oh, boy, that was something. The GTPs, they're not going to let us have one single race without anxiety. I feel like at this point, we're going to have some real anxiety whenever we're looking at the GTPs because nobody's safe. No matter how big of a lead they have, no matter how fast they seem to be, chaos always seems to erupt when you least expect it. But for Aiden Garcia, he was the benefactor of that chaos, and he was able to move on up into the lead, win that division. Matt Toppin P2, Colin Bourdon, according to my scoring and timing, a little bit further back. But boy, oh boy, what a race that was. And the GT3s, I think, were really the star of that race, though, Brad, because both divisions, pro and amateur, we had great battles all through both fields for 60 straight minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing for me with Elbows Out, is that regardless of where you look, things get absolutely wild and just don't stop. I don't know what it is that causes it, but man, it is so much fun, and they never let it go. I mean, even if we go back and we look all the way back at the race beginning, like that is really where things started, was the race beginning is where things started to get wild, and it just didn't stop from there. So, I mean, really nothing else to say other than, man, another absolutely beautiful round here from Elbows Out to bring things through. And it's hard to think that we've already went 5 rounds into this season.
Yeah, it's been really going by quick. We're really clocking off the races, and the points picture, with as crazy as the races have been, I think the points picture is going to be pretty closer than some might think. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward through the season. But overall, Brad, are we, I can't remember, do we do interviews or are we moving on?
We do not have anyone for interviews here. That will be coming. I'm going to trademark that one for soon. That will be coming in. But let's talk about the next rounds coming up. Next week is Daytona at night on the road course. And I can't tell you how excited I am for that one. That's one that I just can't wait for. From there, we go to Monza, and then it's Le Mans on the 8th of May. 15th of May, we go Interlagos, and then Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the 22nd. 29th will be Zandvoort, and then we go to June 5th, which is going to be, it's the Nürburgring. And if you know anything about the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring, That's going to be a doggone good race when it goes. But I'm really looking forward to next week. Andre, as we always say, to get to next week, we got to get through the rest of the races on this week, which is just Red Sox Racing League tomorrow. And then next week, we go back to our chaotic PTR TV schedule of 5 streams, 4 nights a week, and we'll bring on tons of action. But I think this is where we leave this one off, where it's all said and done. So if you've joined us here on YouTube or on Facebook, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for letting me know Robot Andre made an appearance there for a brief moment. As I said, we don't pay for him, so I don't know why he loves to show up, but we keep the real Andre always. But on behalf of Andre, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us on the next one where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.